So, you want to learn Adobe Illustrator but everything looks a little too complicated at start. Cool. This video is for you. Everything you need to know to get started in just 10 minutes. First and foremost, what is Adobe Illustrator? Illustrator is a vector drawing software which despite the name is primarily used for graphic design. What is a vector? I hear you asking, well in design vector is an image that can be scaled to infinity without losing quality. It's the opposite of a bitmap image, like a photo which is made up of pixels and has a set resolution. But don't worry, when you first open Illustrator, you will be greeted with the home screen. There is a few presets to choose from, a list of recently opened files, and what most important, the new file button. Upon clicking it, a menu will pop up with some settings you can customize for your new file like size, measurement unit, how many artboards you want, and some advanced options like color mode. Quick tip, use RGB for anything that's digital and CMYK for anything that will be pointed. After setting everything up and clicking the create button, you will reach the most important part of the program, which is the workspace. The workspace, everything you see in the screen right now can be customized and move around every tool, menu and panel. There are also different workspace presets for the different workflows which you can access on the top right corner of Adobe Illustrator. For now, let's select the Essential Classic preset just so we are both on the same page. I think this preset is very good for starters. The workspace in Illustrator can be separated in different parts and knowing them will help you understand the software. Here you will find all the menus. A lot of things in Illustrator can be done in several different ways, but more often than not, you can find where what you are looking for in the menus. Down below we have the control bar. It is one of the most helpful elements of the workspace because it is context-based, meaning its context will change depending on the object for the tool you have selected. For example, notice how new options like font and paragraph appears when we select the text. Below the control bar, we have the document tabs. Each tab is a different file you have opened. On the left side, we have the toolbar, which contains all the tools in Illustrator. If you have the mouse over a tool, Illustrator will show the tool name, its shortcut, and a small video explaining what the tool does. If a tool has a small arrow on the corner, you can click it and hold to open up similar tools. For example, clicking and holding on the rectangular tool opens a menu containing similar tools like the ellipse tools and the polygon tool. On the right side, we have the panels. Illustrator has several different panels and they are all used to perform different actions like aligning objects, customizing gradients, and combining shapes. They can all be opened through the window menu and they are kind of a complement to the toolbar. Panels can be expanded or collapsed using the arrow symbols on the top right corner. On the bottom of the workspace, we have the status bar. It is not something all that important. It shows some info about zoom level, selected artboard, and selected tool. And finally, in the center of it all, we have the artboard. This is where you will add elements like geometric shape, text, and images. The white rectangle is the size you selected when creating the document, and more than one artboard can be created for a multi-page file like a presentation. Lot of stuff already, don't worry, give it some time and you will get used to it. Now I will show you some of the most important tools and panels to really get you started. One of the basis of graphic design are geometrical shapes, and that's where we will start. Let's press the letter M to select the rectangular tool. All the shape tool work more or less in the same way, so I will just explain the rectangle. But remember, click and hold on the rectangular tool to bring the menu with the other shapes. To create shapes in the artboard, you have two options. You can either click and drag and make the shape the size and proportion you want. You can put the exact size you want. When clicking and dragging, you can hold the shift key to lock the proportion to a perfect square. This also works with the other shapes as well to create perfect circles or polygons. Now that we have something in the artboard, we can talk about the tool you will use the most, the selection tool. There are actually two selection tools, the selection tool shortcut V and the direct selection tool shortcut A, or the black cursor and the white cursor. The selection tool black cursor is used to select, move, rotate, and scale entire objects in the artboard. For moving objects, just click and drag them. For rotating, place the cursor close to the corners until it turns into this curved two-sided arrow. For scaling, use these white squares around the bounding box. of the object. If you hold shift while scaling, you will also keep the proportions. Bonus tip: hold the alt or option key while dragging an object to duplicate it. Now for the direct selection tool white cursor, we have to first take a look on how shapes work in Illustrator. Any shape in the artboard is made up of points that we call anchors. Two anchors connected make a path, and when the path is curved like in a circle, the anchor points will also have handles to control the curvature. And these three elements, anchors, paths, and handles, can only be manipulated individually using the direct selection tool. Then click and drag to draw a circle. Now press the letter A to select the direct selection tool and hover the mouse on the top part of the circle until the anchor names pop up. Then click and drag to move only that anchor point. Cool, that's right. You might have noticed that the handles are also showing now. You can also click and drag them to change the curvature of the path. You can also click and drag on the path to move it, but it can be a little tricky. But what if you want to draw something more complex than just geometrical shape? Well, then you will use the pen tool. With the pen tool shortcut P, each time you click in the artboard, you will create an anchor point which will be connected to the previous one just like this. If you click and drag, you will create a curved path. Clicking back on the first anchor, you close the path and finish the object. This tool can be a little bit challenging. At first, it requires a little bit of practice to get used to, but it is a super important part of the Illustrator and you will definitely use it a lot once you get the hang of it. Now, before we move on to the panels, it is important that you will learn how to move around the artboard, which lucky for you is super easy to do. You can move around in a lot of ways, but my preferred methods are either to hold the spacebar then click and drag or the click and drag use the mouse wheel. For zooming, you can hold the Alt key or option. If you are on Mac, then scroll with the mouse wheel. Now let's see a few panels. The one you will definitely use the most is the color panel. It is already open by default. Oh, and of course, some panels do not display by default all their options. Click on the sandwich menu on the top right corner of the panel and click show options. Now that's better. The color panel is used to change the color of the shapes you create, both the fill color and the outline color, which you can switch by clicking on these two action icons right here. Then all you have to do is to select the object and change the color as you like. The next panel is the one that I use all the time, the align panel. It is not open by default, so let's open it in the window menu. The align panel automatically opens the pathfinder and the transform panels as well. They are kind of grouped. Let's drag this panel to the top right side and lock it on the panel bar. The align panel is pretty straightforward. Select the object you want to align and select the desired alignment like center, left or right. By default, when you select only one object, it will align to the artboard. But if you have two objects selected, the panel will automatically switch to align the selection. Next in line, it is the pathfinder. This panel is used to create new shapes by combining two or more shapes. You can unite two shapes into one, intersect the paths that are overlapping or just divide everything into different shapes. It is really easy and really useful. And finally, the properties panel. This right this right here can be your best friend if you get used to it. Just like the control bar, the properties panel is context based, meaning its context change depending on what you have selected. In fact, the properties panel is kind of like an extension of the control bar in a way. This is only panel that I have expanded at all the times and it is a true lifesaver. It can expand your workflow in so many different ways. I have a full video talking about this panel. If you want to check it out, it is on the card in the top right corner of the screen. Well, congratulations, you just learned the basics of Illustrator, but your journey is just starting. Check the playlist right here to learn more about this wonderful software. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any kind of questions, give me a shout out on the comments and I will answer you all of the questions. Thanks for watching my video and stay blessed and Khuda Hafiz.